All right, let's get more on that environmental hoax that took place at Canada's expense today in Copenhagen. A fake Twitter account, fake press releases, fake news conference. This was all those details in this elaborate hoax by the environmental activists in Copenhagen in an attempt to embarrass the Canadian delegation over what they see as its unpopular stance on the climate change talks. Now, these guerrilla tactics provoked a very angry response from a member of the Prime Minister's office. It was all caught on tape. To get a little more of a reality check on all this, Margot McDermott is here. Margot, tell us exactly what we know about what happened here.
Well, it started this morning. We started to get these press releases, and with the heading "Environment Canada looks real." Somebody's email at the bottom, that was around 8 o'clock Eastern time, and then this said that Canada was being more aggressive in its targets, very aggressive in cutting its greenhouse gas
40%
emissions.
cuts.
40% by 2020, 80% by 2050. Dream on, say most people, and environmentalists, this is what they want. And also $13 billion to help African nations deal with climate change. Okay, that came out. Then, a little while later, this email from Environment Canada saying, oh, that was a terrible hoax. That wasn't us. This is also a hoax. Then, shortly after that, a fake story in the Wall Street Journal talking about Canada's aggressive shift towards cutting greenhouse gases. And then there was on the internet a link in this story to a press conference with a Ugandan delegate saying how happy she was that Canada was doing this. All fake. And then, if that wasn't enough, this tragic Ugandan reaction to false Canada announcements. So what we had were a series of fake emails, hoax emails, and then hoax reactions to the emails.
Very elaborate,
yes.
Very sophisticated. When we got them, we all kind of sensed right away, this doesn't sound like the government of Canada. But then this provoked a pretty interesting and angry exchange with Dimitri Sotis from the Prime Minister's office. Tell me about that.
Well, he's the Prime Minister's press secretary. He is in Copenhagen right now. He actually blamed an environmentalist, Stephen Guilbeault, who's from Équiterre in Quebec. Now, Stephen Guilbeault is very outspoken about Canada's, what he calls its lack of action on climate change. Dimitri blames Stephen, who said, it's not me, I had nothing to do with it. And when that happened, we actually caught it on tape. Our cameras were there. So
let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
You think it's a game, but it's not a game. It's a serious issue.
You're playing games. I'm not playing games. I don't go blaming people personally, publicly.
That's the unfortunate
It's
part.
unacceptable.
We're going to work hard at getting an agreement. You can criticize from the bleachers, Stephen.
And I want an apology.
All right, both sides obviously very angry at each other. We haven't got to the bottom of exactly who's got this. So who did the hoax then? If Mr. Guilbeault says it's not him, who do we know who did this?
We're not exactly sure. We've traced a couple of people through their emails, but we haven't been able to confirm who it is. But what we did is we called some of the numbers at the bottom of the press releases, got somebody on the phone from Copenhagen. One of my colleagues did this. They pretended to be from Environment Canada. We know they're not from Environment Canada. And then they said, we're going to reveal who did this tomorrow in Copenhagen.
So pretty elaborate hoax. And finally, Margaret, what does this tell us then about, I mean, obviously lots of controversy in Copenhagen with lots of countries, certainly a lot around Canada. What does this really tell us?
A couple of things. The level of sophistication, first of all, with whoever's doing this, but also the fact that Canada is in a position right now where people are making fun of it. I mean, we have received 6 fossil awards so far. And essentially, we're kind of the brunt of a lot of jokes in Copenhagen. Now, Environment Canada, the minister, Jim Prentice, is actually there. And he said, he kind of just brushed it off and said, listen, we're negotiating. They're going to just move on. They're going to sort of pretend this hasn't happened.
This is part of the sideshow element.
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Margot.
You're welcome.
It's almost like blood spilling out of a body along the east coast of Greenland there. And so it's gone from this to this.